All right, might make a start now, and welcome everyone to this evening session of Grad Chat. My name is Tavita Lasuma. I'm the GM for Student Engagement for GSA, and like any other Tuesday at 6 p.m, we were here to support the transition to work initiatives from GSA, so supporting our postgraduates into securing more opportunities in employment during or post their studies. So welcome to the session. Before I kick off, I'd like to acknowledge the land of the occult Wallang clan of the Boomerang, where I'm actually currently hosting from today, and pay my respects to the elders past and present, and recognise the strength, resilience and capacity of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people in this land. So again, like I said, on every other Tuesday, we do invite special guests to come and talk to us and share their knowledge and expertise in this space. So we have Georgia Young back from SEEK, to talk us through, improving or enhancing your job searching while utilising their platform, Seek.com. So I think we all know in the room it's probably the number one, I don't know if I can even say that, but the number one platform that we all use to do a searching for work. And so before I start again, I just want to introduce Georgia to those who haven't met her from the previous sessions. Georgia Young is the Seek Senior Account Manager for Government and Education in Victoria. She's responsible for managing customer relationships and partnering with recruitment and HR teams to design an effective sourcing strategy. George is passionate about building long-lasting customer relationships and working with organizations to drive better results through insights, lead discussion, effective training sessions, and keep customers up to date on how Seek's products and tools can support their recruitment. So definitely link to that bio. George is here to sort of take us through what is a huge platform for finding work. And yeah, welcome Georgia to the session once again.
Thank you, Tavita. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no worries. So if you'd like, I'd like to throw over the share screen to you so you can maybe take us through it.
Perfect. All right. Well, let me just share my screen now, and then we can kick off. All right, brilliant. So hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today, and thanks for having me return to your Tuesday information session. What we're going to have a look at today is we're just going to spend some time having a look at the Seek platform, and I'm going to go through some of the features and tools that will really help you along your job search journey. So I'm going to spend some time having a look at the profile. I'm going to give you a little bit of an insight into my profile. And then we're going to spend some time having a look at the search page itself and highlighting where you can go to surface any recommendations. And I'll give you some insight into how that happens. And also how you can save your jobs or any of your searches so that Seek can actually send you your daily alerts. And the reason that this is really important, or where I think this might help you all, Tavita was just explaining to me, it's a pretty busy time for all of you at the moment. You're about to go into exams, there's quite a lot on your mind. With the job search, this is where Seek can do some of the heavy lifting for you. So by saving these alerts, you can get email into your email every day that informs you of new jobs that have appeared, which enable you to do a really quick apply if you want to, so you can be one of the first applicants for that particular role. So I think this could be really beneficial for you now and also in the future.
Sorry, George. Just to, sorry to cut you off there. I did fail to mention that everyone in the room, if you do have any questions, we've enabled the Q&A function. And there's an upvote option there that you can, if you see that there's a question come through that you think actually that's something similar that I want to ask, just upvote it, so push it to the top, and we'll try address all the questions we can in relation to utilising the platform just a little bit better to be able to support you, especially as George was saying, especially through this time where it's going to have a lot, you're going to have a lot on your plate. So yeah, sorry, I thought I'd just mention that, Georgia. Thanks.
No problem. The final thing I'm going to share with you, I did mention how I'm going to give you a little insight into my Seek profile. I warn you, it's not completed, so you will see some space in there. But then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to switch gears and go into the product that hirers use when they're searching on your profile, just so you can see that when you have a profile, how it's searchable and how hirers who have vacancies that match your criteria can then find you and contact you for the right opportunities. So what we're really going to tap in today from a candidate perspective is a bit of the passive work, the active work, so the applying and the saving of jobs, and then the passive work that means the opportunities can really come to you. So we're on the Seek search page. Hopefully this is something that's familiar for some. It's absolutely okay if you haven't visited the Seek website before, but this is the home page. So to get to the Seek website, you need to follow this URL at the top, so seek.com.au. So as Tavita mentioned before, we are one of Australia's leading job boards when it comes to recruitment. We have a 6-time competitor lead over our nearest competitor. So you can be confident that when you're coming to Seek, we have all of the opportunities and that you will find something in here that matches what you're looking for. The way that our search function works, it's like a Google search. So most candidates, I believe it's up to around 70% of candidates, they'll use this keyword function over here to search for the role title that they're looking for. We also have the ability in here, you can refine the search a little bit more and select a Seek classification is what we call them, but really it's a grouping of the industries. So as an example, if you were looking for a role that was in the banking and financial services industry, and you only wanted to see the roles in that specific classification, you can tick this box here, which will mean all of the other roles in the other classifications will be excluded from your search. So it's a really quick way to be able to eliminate a large portion of jobs and just focus on the ones that are relevant to you. And then over here, we have the location search. So when you're doing a location search on Seek, this is driven by suburb. So we've introduced some quite granular search capability here. You can search on a specific suburb or a specific postcode. And the reason we introduced this is through many years of monitoring how candidates are using the Seek website, what we really found is that it's very important for candidates to know where they're going to work and to be able to work close to home. But I'm going to show you an example of a search, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the location filters and how you can expand that or narrow that down once you've run your initial search. So I'm just going to stick with an example of an engineer. So let's say that I'm looking for an engineering role. If I come in here into the what section and type my role title, you'll see that we've got some predictive role titles that will appear within the search. So the first match here is engineer. There's also similar keywords such as engineering, engineering manager, engineering intern, and engineering internship. For the purpose of this, I'm just going to stick with engineer. But what you can see here is the search is quite predictive and it will assist you in completing your role titles when you are running the search. I'm then going to come in and look at my classification, and for the purpose of the search, I'm going to select engineering. You can see here that that's now opened up 2,888 jobs, but I'm still looking across all of Australia. So if we go over to the location, let's say for this example that I'm looking for a job in Subiaco in Perth. If I start typing the location, again, the predictive search will highlight and bring up Subiaco as a location, enabling me to click on that straight away. And then I can hit Seek. And voila, there are all of our jobs that we can start to filter through and search through. So I mentioned about the ability to narrow down or widen your search function on the location once you've run your search. This is a relatively new feature. So over here, we can see that what's being displayed right now is 290 jobs that have been found that match the criteria. And they're showing jobs within a 50-kilometre radius of the location that I selected. So this radius function is a relatively new feature. If you're wanting something, if you want to change that, you've got the ability to do that using this little drop-down list. So if you want something a little closer, I would warn it's a smaller it's a smaller town, Subiaco, so the narrower you go, you may end up seeing a smaller pool of ads to choose from. But I think it's really important for you to see that once you've selected your location, you can then evolve that and expand by using that little radial search function, which I think is a really good addition. Now, just to kind of give you a bit of info into the jobs that we're seeing here and the type of ad, at the top, the first two ads that you'll often see on a Seek page are the sponsored ads. So you can see here, this tells us it's a featured position. This means that this person or this advertiser has essentially paid to promote their opportunity, which probably indicates it's quite a urgent position. Maybe it's a harder to fill role and they're struggling to find people. So I'd always encourage you to pay attention to these ones up here, because from a hirer perspective, this can sometimes mean that they're struggling to fill the role, or it is a harder to fill position. These are also still really targeted towards you and your search. So we hope that they are still relevant, the roles that we're surfacing there, and they definitely should be. And then if we scroll down, we can see the rest of the ads that have appeared. You'll see in most cases that the ads are prioritized, or there is a bit of a preference around when the ad was posted. But what I'll say is it's not the most important feature that comes into play when we think about the algorithm and how the ads are ranked. What is the most important feature of our algorithm is relevancy. So you can see here that this ad here, process engineer, was posted 5 hours ago. But this position up here, which is a project engineer, was posted 7 days ago, but it's appearing above this one that was only posted today. So what this shows me is that this advertiser has used more relevant content that matches either me as a logged in candidate, because I've logged in at the top here, and also looking at the criteria that I've put into the search. So I just wanted to highlight to you that when we are surfacing roles here, relevancy is the number one factor that we look at when trying to work out the order in which we display the ads. Now, I wanted to just stop here and show you how you can save a search. So let's say you're coming in every day and you're doing this engineering search. You can save some time by going over here and clicking Save This Search. So if I hit Save, we can see it's now turned to a tick, and I now have saved that search against my profile. To navigate and find the your saved information about your saved searches, I'm going to now shift gears and jump into the profile and show you where you can find that. So if I click on my name, and as I mentioned, I'm logged in as myself at the moment. If we hit this little downward facing arrow, you can see the subheadings within my profile. So if I want to have a look in my profile, I can do so here. I'm going to come to that later. But here I can see my saved searches. If I click onto that, this will open up a list of saved searches that I have saved either today or previously. As I mentioned, as Tavita said, I look after universities, so I'll often save a search for some of my customers because I like to keep up to date on when they're advertising on the Seek website. But what this also means is that every day I get sent an email from Seek that includes updates on all of the ads that have been posted by Swinburne University, or that include the keywords Swinburne University. And because I've set this one up today, saved on the 20th of October, and I've got email me new jobs selected, as of today or tomorrow when the next emails come through, I'll also start getting any engineering roles that have been posted in Subiaco. So this is a really great way just to stay up to date, make sure that they're coming into your inbox first if you don't always have time to come and visit the Seek website. So I would really encourage you to have a think about your career preferences and the role or the types of roles that you're looking for, whether it's short-term or long-term, and go into your Seek profile and set up some saved searches just so you can really be aware and just start to understand what's happening in the job market, because things are really changing. COVID-19 has impacted Australia and the job market significantly, but we are definitely seeing some really strong recovery. So I think it would be helpful to be able to see each day the types of roles that are coming in, whether you're ready to apply for them now or if you're just doing some research. This is a really good place to start.
Sorry, Georgia, I have a question related to that. In terms of the emails, can you choose the timing the emails come, or is it always at the same time?
I believe it's always at a similar time. So I think they're normally sent in the morning. They're automated, so I don't think you can change you can select what time because it is automated and we send them to some ridiculous amount of people. So if we were to do them all at a certain time, I think it might create some issues with our systems.
Yeah, no, of course. I think morning's a good time for most. So I'm just curious.
Did you want me to stop here to see if there were any questions, Tavita, or did you want me to keep going through?
Sure. I mean, I've just typed in the chat there, guys. If you have any questions around the Save Search functionality that George has come through, or anything else that we might be touching base on later, please put it through the Q&A. If not, I think we'll just carry on, Georgia.
Okay, perfect. So since we're on the profile, I'm going to just work through some of the information here. So in the saved jobs, so this is where if you have found a job during your search that you're interested in, I mean, for example, I had some customer conversations and I wanted to talk to them about these specific roles. You can see University of Melbourne is here. I had a meeting with them last week. What I did there is I actually logged in as a candidate and saved the job so that when I was talking to them, I had it ready to go. The same applies for you as a candidate. So if you're going through the search, whether it's on your mobile or on the desktop, if you're logged in, the two devices will sync. So what it means, if we go back to a job search, and I'll just go back into my engineer role. Let's say this one looks really interesting. You'll see here on the very front page in the search results preview, that's what we call this page here, you can hit save. So if you're scrolling through and you go, yep, I want to look at that one later, I also want to look at that one, that's where you can save them. Also, if you click into the ad and you've read the full detail, and likewise you go, yeah, this opportunity looks great for me, you can save it over here. So there's actions for you to be able to do that on both the detail page and on the search results preview. So if I navigate back to the Save Jobs tab, it's really great here. You can actually add in some notes. So if you wanted to write, maybe you ended up calling the hiring manager and you wanted to write a note here, you could say, had a conversation with the hiring manager. You know, I understand when you're looking for a job, sometimes that means that you're applying for a lot of opportunities and it can get a little bit lost around which one. I've definitely been caught out a few times when someone's called me and I said, oh, sorry, which one are you from? So this might help you be a little bit organized and have that information saved. Likewise, you can remove the job if you need to, if you've already applied or if you're no longer interested.
Sorry, Georgia, we had a question actually related to the Save Searches. Mm-hmm. Can we choose the frequency we want to get the email updates, e.g. every week instead of every day?
I believe you can. So maybe let's jump to that now. So down the bottom here in the settings, you can update your alert information. So if I go into I went settings, and then if we head to notifications, this is where you can control all of the information about your emails or your notifications. So some of the features, this includes all of the notification features. Something you may not be aware of is if you've applied for a role on Seek and that employer has viewed your application, has progressed you to the next stage, or if the ad has expired, you can actually get a notification for those things. Some people prefer to see that and some people prefer not to. So that's where you can change that here. Over here, you can change your information. This is your weekly job recommendations. I thought you might be able to change it here. Save search updates. Let's just check. Maybe not. I apologize. I think it is just default to daily.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, it looks like it's defaulted to daily. But I'd encourage you to go into the settings, explore the notifications. I'm just going to head back into there again, just so we can have a quick look at that. So this will include all of your alerts and how you want to manage that, how you want to hear from employers. Some people like to have this information kind of front of mind and some people prefer not to. So this is where you can go in and manage all of those preferences. Okay, so I am not going to go into these two sections here. Actually, maybe I will just jump into the recommended jobs because I want to talk a little bit about recommendations. So as a logged in candidate, if you're going and running searches on Seek, if you're applying for jobs, if you're shortlisting roles, there's a range of things that I suppose we're monitoring and having a look at in the background to really enable us to learn more about you and what you find interesting and what opportunities are relevant for you. I mentioned before that relevancy is front of mind for us when we're trying to surface you the correct opportunity. One way that we do that and where we use that relevancy is in recommendations. So we can see already, just based off of the few clicks and saves, so I saved a search and I've saved 2 specific engineering opportunities. Already I've been recommended another engineering role. So what the system will do, it will identify specific trends within how you're engaging with the Seek website and will surface you recommendations. So there's 2 places you can find your recommendations. You can find them by clicking up into the downward facing arrow in your profile and navigating here, which is where we are now. What you'll also notice, if I head back to the home page, just by hitting the Seek logo in the top left, down here, I've also got that information from the folders that we've just spent some time looking at. So on the home page, we bring that information to the front, so you don't always need to navigate into the folders, because we know this is the most used areas that candidates are using within their profile and their saved jobs. So you'll see here your list of recommendations, your saved searches are accessible here. Your saved jobs and your saved searches are accessible here. So it's really easy to navigate and get to where you need to go really quickly. Those recommendations will also be visible in the bottom panel in your Seek app. So no matter if you're on the go or if you've got a day at the desk, you should be able to find those wherever you are. All right, so let's jump in and have a look at the profile. So I'm going to click profile here at the top of the toolbar. You can also navigate to profile by hitting this button here. So we try and provide you a few different ways ultimately to get to the same place. So as I said, this is my profile. I will be completely honest, this is more set up to use for sessions like this. This isn't a good example of a completed profile. So I just want to call that out at the beginning. The purpose of this is really just to show you all the different types of information that you're able to include into this online resume, essentially, to help hirers find you. I mentioned before about the relevancy. We also look at the information in your profile to assist in providing you relevant opportunities as well. So this information is used in a few different ways. So what you get to include in the profile, or the information that we ask you to include to complete the profile, is a bit of a personal summary. So this is maybe similar to what you might say either in a cover letter or maybe in the kind of opening summary on a CV, just a little bit of a statement about you, maybe what you're looking for. As a grad, you might be talking about the fact that you're a current graduate, you're looking for a career in a certain industry. If you have experience in overseas, and if you're looking to move to Australia, or if you're looking for your first career in Australia, this is where you might include some of that information to give them a little bit of insight into who you are and why you have a profile and what you're looking for. And then we get to move into the career history. So the basic information is captured here. So the role title, the business that you work for, and the period of time in which you worked there. But what we also have the ability to do is add in, I'm just going to go edit. I haven't completed the description, but you've also got the ability to add in a bit of a description about what that role was and what it entailed. I really encourage you here to use as much relevant language regarding that career or that role or that industry as you can. Think about technical skills, because they're the type of things that hirers will be searching against. So if you've had, I really just would encourage you to think about what you've learned in that role, the skills you applied, and include that in this summary here. It will definitely assist you in being found. So you have the ability to add that for as many roles as you want. Again, kind of like the information that we would give on a resume, I'd suggest to try and keep it relevant, just to make sure that you're surfacing the best version of you, rather than using just a list of roles, maybe that with work that aren't as relevant to the career that you're hoping to find now.
Sure. Sorry, I've got a couple of questions that have come through about the profile. I don't know if you were going to get to it, but do we have time to answer some questions?
Please, yeah.
So one of the questions is, who can view my profile?
Yep, good question. Let's jump to that first. So up in the top right corner over here, you've got your profile visibility. Now, you are in control of who views your profile, or what type of setting that you would like to have. So I'm just going to click here on learn more about the settings. So these are the 3 settings that you can choose to have when setting up your profile. Before we jump into that, who gets to view it is Seek advertisers. So a hirer, it might be an engineering firm, it could be a school, it could be whoever the customer is. They would choose to add this product to their Seek product suite. And by doing that, they have access to come in and search for candidates. So as a candidate, there's 3 different types of settings that you can have. The standard setting means that hirers can search your profile, they can contact you with opportunities, and they can view and download your resume. That's probably it's the key reason that advertisers come to Seek, because they can download your resume. They can then give you a call, and they've got all of the information they need to have about the career, and to assess if you're going to be the right type of candidate to further the conversation. Option 2 is a limited profile. So a hirer can still search for you. They can contact you with opportunities, but they can't view your resume without your permission. So that means that they can't view it and they can't download it unless they've given you permission. So what would probably happen in that situation is they might message you, which is sent in the form of an email, and say, hey, we've seen your information. You look great for this opportunity we have. Are you open to sharing your resume with me? And then the third option is to have a hidden profile. So you might come in, include all of your information, your bio, write your description about your experience, attach your resume, but maybe you've just got a dream job, and you're actually not looking right now. So you don't want to be contacted, and you don't want other people seeing your profile. You can turn your profile to hidden, which means it can't be searched. Nobody can contact you and nobody can see your resume. And then if you need to enter the job market again and you want to turn it back on, you can of course turn it back on at any time. So I hope that answers that question. There is a bit more down here around kind of who can view your profile. But this ultimately is a product that hirers will pay to use. And it has become a very, very popular way of hiring, or very, very successful way for advertisers to make placements. Many customers will use a combination of this, which is what we call proactive search, and a combination of advertising to make sure that they're really getting across the whole market.
Yeah, fantastic. I think another sort of related question there was, what all things can a hirer see in my profile? I think, can you manipulate within these 3 parts, or is it basically these are the 3 things that you can change in that sense?
Yeah, so I suppose when you're creating your profile, depending on, if I go back to this screen, like for here, for example, I've left this quite limited. So all this means is this hirer can only see my role titles. They can only see when I worked there. So if there's certain information you don't want a hirer to see, my advice would be don't include it, because you can't just turn on certain sections. But if you wanted to leave a certain area blank, it's not mandatory that you complete each section. It's more just recommended to make sure that you have all the information there so you can be found. But if there's information you don't want to be seen, my recommendation would be to leave that off. Things like salary, for example. Some people are sensitive about salary and they don't want the salary visible. I'm just going to try and scroll down to where salary is. I saw it in the actual profile view, but I can't see it on here. But that is a good example of, I come across many profiles, and when we jump in, I'll show you some examples, but you don't have to include that information if you're not comfortable for that being searched on.
And so, another related question is it good to opt for limited profile option to avoid being approached by scammers, or should we go using the recommended version and be at risk of being scammed? I mean, this is sort of an open question there.
Yeah, no, it's a really good thing to be thinking about, and security and candidate security specifically is something that we take incredibly seriously. Keep in mind that an advertiser needs to pay to be using premium talent search. We very rarely, I actually don't think I've ever come across a situation where someone has come in here to scam. So I think it is something to be aware of and to be safe about. But remember that we are also looking out for your security as well. And people need to go through a range of verifications before we'll give them access to this platform. It's not a public search function, for example, like LinkedIn, where you can just go in and see that information. You actually need to go through verifications and checks that we do, and they also need to pay to use it.
Brilliant, thank you. And you just mentioned LinkedIn before, and there's a question here: can we sync our profiles with LinkedIn?
No, we get this question quite a lot. Look, unfortunately not, just because we are complete competitors. So this is I suppose, if I'm honest, this is a competitive play that we have against the LinkedIn profile. You may have seen over the last, I think, 2 or 3 years, LinkedIn have now started doing jobs. So Seek and LinkedIn are absolutely head-to-head. Think about Optus and Telstra. So there's no way that we would, unfortunately, be syncing. Although I do understand how it would definitely make things easier for candidates.
Right, thanks, Georgia. Another one here is how often the employers contact candidates for a job position? How likely are people to get hired because their profiles are essentially open to employers?
Yeah, so look, it really depends. There's some industries that I would say 100% dependent on platforms like this. Think about IT. IT is probably the number one. If I have an IT customer, I guarantee you that they're making majority of their placements through a platform such as this. There's some where it's not as successful. But as I mentioned before, this proactive search is really becoming an extremely popular way of sourcing talent. I don't have any stats today, but what we are seeing is an increase in the percentage of people, or the percentage of roles that have been placed off the back of something like talent search, or these profiles, sorry. So it's incredibly successful. I mean, we have something like 120,000 new profiles are created every month. I have some connection data. Maybe I'll send it to you so I don't completely make a mistake with the numbers, but it's quite compelling. So I'll see if I can get some information that gives you an insight into the number of connections. That's what we call it when a hirer can connect with you through this platform. There's 3 things they can do. They can send their job to you. They can send you a message, which is sent in the form of an email, or they can download your resume. And that's what we call a connection. So I'll share with you, Tavita, after the session, once I get my hands on the connection method, so everybody can understand how much this is being used for hiring in Australia.
Great, thank you. And what we'll do, we'll connect that information with the recording of this session and put it on the website, and also share it with anyone who came on tonight. We actually have another, I guess, a link question to before is, who do we report to if we have a doubt that we have or maybe suspect that our profile has been scammed?
Yep. So there is a customer service details. I can send that to you as well. Sorry, I'm just trying to find out. I think in here, this help center contact us down here is where you would be able to flag that potential breach if you were concerned.
Great. Thank you, Georgia.
So the other part that I want to start, so this is around the role information. And as I said, mine is really not a great example because it's not filled in, but I will go into the actual platform and show you an example of a really strong profile. But what you can also add in here is education. So I was talking to Tavita before. I studied a Bachelor of Industrial Design at Swinburne University. What this means is if a hirer is looking for somebody who's done a certain degree, because they can use that, they can search on those keywords, I would then come up in their search. So if you want to add in a qualification, it's really, really easy for you to do that here. Again, you can add a summary about the course highlights. So all of that information about your qualification, the institution where you studied and the year you completed can all be captured here and is searchable for the hirer. The same applies with licenses and certificates. So if anybody has heard me talk about Certsy before, so Certsy is a verification platform that is within the Seek group, and that's where Certsy comes into play with licenses and certifications. So say, for example, if you are in warehouse logistics and you need to have a driver's license, or if for your job in general, you must have a driver's license, and you know that that's going to be important, you can add that in here and we'll actually verify the information for you. So if I'm a hirer looking to employ someone, it helps them having that certainty to go through a profile and actually see, oh, Georgia has a driver's license, and Seek have also confirmed that that is actually true, that the information here is correct. So these licenses and certificates can all be added in here as well, which is really great. Then we've got the skills section. So if you want to add in information about your skills, so they've put team building in here. I'm just going to add in communication. I thought it was predictive, but obviously it's not. Communication, and hit add. We've got a new skill. So these will be added like a tag on your profile. So again, if a hirer was searching for certain key words, let's say I've got experience with Salesforce, and then maybe I've also got presentation skills. You can add all of that in here to make sure that it's easily visible and that they can search on it when they're running their search, which I'm going to show you in a minute. And then down here is some, I suppose, an expansion on some additional personal skills, such as your availability. So if you were available to start immediately, you could include that here. If you're open to different work types, so if you're open to part-time, contract, casual, and full-time, you can add that in here, because hirers definitely search on those work types when they're looking for a candidate, pardon me. I just want to talk about this one for a minute, because this is really important. So at the moment, I live in Melbourne, but let's just say, let's say I want to add in a new location. You can do that really easily here, and you can go down to a kind of suburb search as well, or a region search. What I was hoping to show in here, and sorry, I'm just struggling to find this, what you can add is, if you're open to an opportunity for relocation, you can actually include that in here. So at the moment, my profile says that I live in Melbourne. It's my preferred location. But if I wanted to add a new one, actually, maybe let's try this. I'm going to add in Sydney. Let's say, yep, I'm open to opportunities in Sydney as well. If a hirer did a search on Sydney and they ticked a box that said they're happy to consider someone to relocate, I would then show up in their search. So if you aren't tied to a role in Melbourne, if you're open to opportunities maybe in regional Victoria or in other states, I would encourage you to include that in here as well, because it will ensure that you show up not only in Victorian searches, but in searches across all of Australia. You can include in here your ability, what your right to work in Australia visa is. And I believe we are adding in some confirmation there on Certsy as well. So if you want to try and help Seek, if you'd like Seek to help verify that certification or your visa level for you, we can do that through the Certsy platform. So hirers can immediately know. It really speeds things up for you and assists you in assist them in making sure that they're making the right, they're creating the right short pools or short lists of candidates if they do have specific visa requirements in place. So this may be helpful for some of the international students that may be on the call. And in here is where I mentioned before the salary information. So this is where you can choose to nominate your preferred salary. What I'd say here is this isn't what you're currently being paid. It's what you would like to be paid in your next role. So you might say here, I'm looking for an opportunity no less than $60,000. And you can check here if that's annual or hourly. So if you're a casual worker, if we switched over to hourly, you'll see this rate changes to an hourly rate. All right, so I'm going to save that. The last thing down the bottom here is your approachability. So I'm just going to leave this turned on. And then when I jump into the actual system itself, just to show you what a hirer can see, I can talk a little bit more about that. So I'm going to hit done. And I'm just going to switch over. Now, let's all pretend that we're not candidates anymore, we're hirers. So we're all employing for a certain role. This is an example of the product that the Seek hirers get to use when they're trying to connect with relevant candidates for their opportunities. So very similar to the job search, the search starts here with a keyword. So I am going to try and find myself to start with, just so I can show you what it looks like, because we've already seen my profile. I want you to see what it looks like now in the actual product. So I'm going to click in here and go account manager. I did this search before. So the keyword search that I've ran here is account manager. The location that I have set is Melbourne, and I've selected all of Melbourne. See here, I mentioned before about that willing to relocate tick box that hirers can choose. If somebody wanted to include candidates in other states, that's where they can do that. And I'm just going to hit seek. And what I've done here is I've actually put in a company search. So hirers can come in and just search for certain companies. So at the moment, I only want to search for candidates from Seek, because that's where I work. And I'm just going to scroll down and try and find myself. Great. So here's my profile. We can see my full name. So the hirer gets visibility on my full name. They can also see here that it says I may be approachable. So I said before I turned on the approachability signal. What the approachability signal is I mentioned earlier around we're always trying to surface relevant information, and we're having a look to see what types of roles you're searching for and what your behavior is like on Seek, so we can surface you the right opportunities. We also use that to indicate to hirers that you might be looking for an opportunity. So because I'm quite active on the Seek website, one, for my job, and also because I've been doing some preparation for this session, what this is telling a potential advertiser or hirer is that I might be approachable, and that's based on my activity on the Seek website. So we'll turn this signal on to indicate, hey, you should reach out to Georgia because she looks like she's been a little bit more active than, for example, Matt Chippendale. So what we can see here is my current role, so that role information. We can see some information about when I last updated my profile. We can see some salary information here. And here are the 3 different connections that a hirer can make. So it's pretty basic because I haven't got a lot of information there. But what I want to show you is the full profile view. So you can really get your head around what it is they can see, and I suppose how much is visible. So I have a feeling that I might have 2 profiles because I don't think I had this much information written in before, but you can start to see some of the summaries and what I've written around those roles. You can see some information about my qualifications. And then down here, some further information, which was around that status that we had below. Now, if I had a resume attached, you can see here, a hirer can actually click on this button here and they can view my full resume prior to connecting with me or downloading the resume. So this is a really, really popular product for advertisers, but it's a really powerful tool for candidates. If you've got a profile, it really does enable opportunity to come to you. The customer segment that is probably the most, the biggest user of the Seek profile would be our recruitment industry customers, because that's really what they do every day. They're out there hiring on behalf of somebody else. And they know that if they come in here, they can really try and find the right people. They're very skilled with their search capability. So I'll just do I might just do a quick search on a different role, just so I can show you maybe a more filled out profile. Let's just say I'm searching for an engineer. And let's see. I'm just going to click on maybe one with a resume, so I can just show you a quick example of a resume, and then we're going to finish there. So we can see this person has again filled in some information for the hirer to read about their experience. They've got their qualifications, they've got their skills down here, they've got information about what type of work type they're looking for. So this gives the hirer a really good snapshot of their experience. But most importantly, it doesn't have a CV preview. I'm just going to try one more. Let's try this person here. I don't know why I can't see a CV preview when it says I can access it. All right, it's not going to work for me today. I don't think it's meant to be. Here we go, got one. So if we click over here, what we do is we parse the information from the attached resume and we reformat it into this format. So any CV that we looked at would follow this same format. We bring across all of the information except any personal information. So if you have your email address, your phone number, and your address in your resume, like most people do, we won't show that to the hirer at this stage. Once they download the resume, they will get all of this information. But at this stage, what we're just trying to surface is all of the additional information that you've included in your resume, so they can read through and have a really good understanding of what your experience is, so that if they're reaching out to you, you know it's a really warm lead. If they're reaching out to you, they've already read your resume, the conversation is going to be pretty serious, and it's, you know, you've already kind of gotten ahead 2 or 3 steps, which is fantastic. So I hope that gives everybody a bit of an insight into how the profile can really help when you are looking for a new career, and how it can really help Seek advertisers come to you, as well as monitoring the job market through the search.
Fantastic. So, Georgia, we had another question that came through before while you're going through that. Is it, if we add a preferred salary, would that reduce the number of job recommendations? Example, if the salary of a posted job is lower, higher than the range we gave?
No. So the salary that you include in your profile won't impact your saved jobs that come through. Okay. What the salary filter does, it's only used on the profile side, so that won't impact anything with your job search functionality. But by including the salary in your profile, and as I said before, there really is no pressure to do that. I would say it's about 50-50 of candidates who are comfortable displaying their salary, and the other half choose not to, because they want to be able to talk about that once they have an understanding of the role and they can kind of gauge if they've got an opportunity to negotiate. So I completely understand and respect that. But some hirers, when they're looking through the profile, if they've got a really big pool of candidates, let's say there's 1,000 candidates and they've done a whole bunch of shortlisting, they've narrowed it down using certain skill sets, and they've still got 1,000 people, sometimes what they'll do is they'll say, only show me the candidates who have said that match with the salary range, or don't show me candidates who haven't displayed their salary, because I just want to talk to people who have shown me that, purely because they need to filter down that list quite quickly. But no, to answer the original question, it won't impact the types of jobs we're sending you. It's just used on the profile.
Fantastic. All right, no more questions there at this stage, guys. If you have the opportunity to, and you still want any burning questions for Georgia, please feel free to use the Q&A section. Look,
I hope the information was helpful. and that it's kind of just, I suppose the purpose of what I was hoping to achieve today was just to give you a bit of an understanding on how it works on the hirer side. It's very rare that candidates would get a glimpse into, I suppose, that product functionality. So I just wanted to, I suppose, share that with you in hope that it'd give you some confidence and on one, the success of using proactive search, and I'll share the connection methods with you later, which may assist in kind of confirming that confidence. And then the second is just how easy it is to include that information in and have hirers find you for potential opportunities. I know it can be quite stressful looking for a job, so I suppose what I'm trying to achieve here is to just give you all the tools to allow you to make the informed decision around how you want to try and embark on your next career. And I think proactive search or having a profile presence is a really, really important feature.
Great. Thanks, George. I think it's very, very good insights into actually just filling up your profile as best you can to sort of benefit being exposed. It was nice to see the flip side of the products, at least now. I mean, some of the questions were quite linked to this, like what does our profile look like to hirers? And I think that was a great way to show us firsthand. So thank you. If there are any other questions, please put them through the Q&A. Otherwise, I've just put a link in the chat to other webinars that George has been on as well to promote the way that you can better put yourself forward for certain jobs and also utilize their tool a lot better. So please help yourself to the link and have a look at some of the pre-recordings there that you can go through at your own leisure. Doesn't have to be between 6 and 7 on Tuesday, but there's definitely a lot of content there. And also, I think there's a lot of content on the Seek website there, even with a career advice tab. We've been there a few times, Georgia, together during your sessions. And I think it's a good place for people to go to actually enhance their offering when they're actually uploading CVs or cover letters and all sorts of stuff. I think there's a lot of stuff there about even interview sort of techniques. So it's a great way to sort of, I mean, again, it's a big time of year for exams coming up, but look, if you set aside a certain amount of time just to build up that profile, so at least it'll work for you while you're doing other things and send you those alerts in the morning. So look, there doesn't seem to be any more questions coming through. So I just want to say thank you, Georgia, for the time this evening. It's been really informative, and it's great to see that, you know, the sort of public facing versus the hiring facing side of the tool, so we can understand what we do look like to those potential hirers. And also, guys, everyone, thank you for this evening to be on the call. And don't forget that every Tuesday we do support transition to work initiatives for postgraduate University of Melbourne, so 6 till 7. Wednesdays is academic excellence, so 4 till 5 we support your academic skills enhancement here at the university. And Thursdays we keep engaged with the healthy communities at the university. So this week we had our art prize for the first time ever in 5 years. We've got an art exhibition online, so please check out Facebook posts and our events section on the website to have a look. That's happening. It's open now. The exhibition is actually quite open now, and the ceremony for the prize giving is on Thursday. So have a look at that. Some amazing pieces of artwork that have come through from our postgrads who are not necessarily from the arts faculty. So it's really interesting stuff that's coming through. So please have a look at that. But otherwise, thanks again, Georgia. It's been really great to have you. Thank you, everyone, for being on the call tonight, and we'll see you next time.